Hello again. Welcome to brewing beer. Everybody can say beer with a smack. Okay. Alright, so anyways, home brewing, especially if you're very new with this, is not that expensive. It's actually fun. It may be time consuming at first, but over the long course of time, the cost of making your own beer versus buying beer in a store or a grocery store, I just can't say how awesome beer is. I can't even drink brewery beer anymore, which kind of sucks, so I have to make my own beer now. And mostly because quality, flavor, no artificial crap, no preservatives, a whole line of stuff that you want to keep. Benefits of it, also it's cheaper. Especially high quality beers like what we will be making today is extremely beneficial. You can get it for $1 a bottle versus $2 to $3 a bottle like they would at the store. So the first things you need to brew beer, of course, are the ingredients, the tools, the equipment that you see around. This, what I'm holding, this secret little sciencey looking vial. This is the most important thing to beer. This is called yeast. This is the liquid yeast, and it is dying to get into this wonderful brew and start eating some sugar and making alcohol for us. Yeast does all the work. I prefer liquid yeast over a dry yeast just because it's a little quicker. And I don't know, for some reason it just has a better overall feel to it. So that's the first thing. Our beer, all of my beer that I've been making now since the last several months, maybe almost a year now, they've all been gluten-free, and this was a challenge because of somebody at one of the fitness classes that I go to is gluten-free, intolerant. And I'm like, well, all right, I'll see what I can do. And they just happen to have this sciencey looking vial of clear liquid. This is actually an enzyme which eats away the gluten. There's a lot of information in here, but basically to make gluten-free beer, it's essentially free. I mean, $2 extra and no extra ingredients. How awesome is that, right? So now you can share with all your gluten-free friends, which are popping up like freaking parasites nowadays, or rats on a sinking ship nowadays. I know, I never heard of gluten until a couple years ago. So, it's everywhere. Thermometer. Most important thing, you want to keep your boil at 150, 155 degrees. 150, yeah, go to 150, 160 for about 40-ish minutes or until this just gets all moved. Each beer has a different strength. If you buy your ingredients, sometimes they may have a helpful chart of how long to do stuff. What we're making today is actually an IPA, so it's very expensive. The next important thing also for the ingredient list is water. Tap water, bad. Filtered tap water, bad, less bad. Drinking water, like distilled water, it's okay. It's good. I prefer a little bit of natural spring water. That because there's elements and minerals and stuff in the spring water that actually helps the yeast eat the sugars and helps convert. And there's just a lot of sciencey stuff that I don't even care about anymore. I read it a while ago. Who gives a shit? It makes it better. Water. Personally, I like Deer Park. I'm not getting paid by Deer Park people, so I should probably cross that out. Advertising alert. Okay, this is not a product placement. Sorry guys. But I just prefer that. It's a personal preference. It made all my beer taste fantastic. I make wine too. Deer Park in my wine is phenomenal. Tap water, especially if there's chlorine, fluoride in there and everything, sometimes your filter, your charcoal filter, which is standard for most households, doesn't get rid of the fluoride, it just gets rid of the taste and flavors of the chlorine, but it's all still in there. Chlorine and yeast and alcohol just make a really, really bad mix for beer and flavor, and it can actually ruin this very expensive wine. The bigger containers are just generic spring water, because the supermarket that I go to now, because my favorite one closed down, only has crappy water. Anyway, the other thing is you want your barleys, This is a Belgian aromatic honey malt. Sorry, not even a borrow some malt. These are really, really good for you. This is the initial boil that will make the wort. This is basically made like a tea. You see this baggie at the end, Molson bag or cheese bag, whatever you want to call it, bag. That basically allows you to boil for a little longer. It's almost like making tea. I'm going to start off while I'm, just as a brevity of time. I don't want to bore you with all this nonsense. So the other part is making beer. Especially if you're a home brewer, you're in college and you can't afford beer, and you're over 21, of course, or legal age of drinking, because, you know, it's against the law to make and drink beer if you're younger. The other things are strainer, kitchen strainer, normal, run-of-the-mill, nothing fancy. You probably already have one. You probably already have 3. This is a 24-quart boiler. This is pretty much for everything. The only other thing is my primary fermenter is a 24-gallon fermenter, and that is because this beer is going to be insane. It boils up like my 8-gallon fermenter usually becomes a volcano of yeast and beer head, and oh, it's a mess. When you're starting out, you're probably not going to have all the equipment to make your own craft malts and barley and stuff, so I use a DME. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? DME, I got 11 pounds of it here in a bag. I don't really like using DME, but for now, on a budget, I don't have the $10,000 to buy that awesome equipment with 3 things and the water filtration going through and the temperature controls and all the good stuff that would give any home brewer a big beer-gasm. The other thing about an IPA is you're going to have a lot of malts. I have Chinook pellet malts. Pellets are good because you just throw them in and forget that they're even there. We have Columbus pellet hops and a lot of Cascade hops. On top of that, we also have a good thing, Cascade hops that are actually real. And they come with another Muslim bag. Whirlflock tablet, I don't know what it does, but it's required in every one of my ingredients. And the other thing, if your kid, recipe, ingredients, whatever it calls for, corn, sugar. It doesn't matter what it is, how much it is, take it and just throw it away. Nobody likes corn sugar. It's bad for you. I use Demerara sugar or some brown sugar or another variety of sugar. It adds a nice, it's like a nice little, it makes the beer head nice. It carbonates. Basically it's for priming and self-carbonation. I like to make self-carbonated beer. Problem with that is you probably get yeast gut over a while. But whatever, a little bit of probiotics and yeast gut is gone away. Because this is my friend's going away beer, he's moving to a contract in another country. Can't really give the details because he's not here to share them with you. He wanted a chocolate IPA. I never made one. So I'm going to put Hershey's Cocoa. This is not a product placement again. So I'm going to put cocoa, 100% cocoa, into the beer. All the sugar and all the other stuff in the beer will make this 100% cocoa into something else. It'll still add the flavor to it. But 1 cup, maybe give or take. For 5 gallons of beer, 1 cup of cocoa usually balances out nicely. And, oh, you know what? My child lock's on. No wonder I haven't been heating up this water. But anyways, this stove is a pain in the ass, so let's get this on. Oops. Get the water off the stove because that was a messy slop earlier. So for now, I want to just heat this water up as fast as I can while I'm doing this heat. Now the reason why is because I just want to make sure. Now for sterility at this stage, I just scrubbed everything with a little bit of hot water and some just dish detergent. Later on, when you want to actually sterilize your primary and secondary and the tools that go along with it, that's extremely important because it won't be on the hot temperatures anymore. bacteria and yeast have this little battle going on over who wants to make the either vinegar or beer. So we don't want vinegar, we want beer. Sand kills everything off, gives a great home environment for this guy to start prospering and spreading out and spreading its yeastly wisdom across the world. Now I like the place where they give me all my ingredients. I say I want to make a beer, go down there, and they have everything all packaged up for me. It's wonderful. I can just call up and say, hey, I want to make a different beer that you don't have a pre-made recipe for. They probably have about 150 recipes as it is. I always improvise my recipes too. There's nothing wrong with adding stuff, taking stuff out, changing things. That's the fun part of home brewing. It's almost like a sock. It's a very long sock. My hands are clean. Plus, it's going to be 150 degrees for a very long time. Any bacteria on my hands is going to die. And it's going to be boiled for an hour and a half on top of that. But I still like to play caution. Well, this didn't come out well. Fun part of doing this without an assistant is it kind of becomes like a circus act. And a very messy circus act at that. So, there we go. And then I just take a nice little knot here. This becomes plant fertilizer. Plant fertilizer or a bunch of other things. You can feed it to your cows if you have them, or the farm down the street if you have one. There's a lot of things you can do with that afterwards. Technically, I just give it to the guy next door neighbor chickens. It makes the egg better. Chickens love it. It's not going to kill them, I don't think. Chickens, if they die, they taste good. Eat them. Wonderful thing about them. Oops. No, you're off. Okay. So first I'm going to heat this water up just to make it heat up. There's probably going to be a cut right here, so you don't have to stare at me like heating up water. Everything, nothing cool. I am. Okay, so for this project, take the thermometer, put it in there. In fact, I just like to add a little more water than it's required. This is going to be like a 30-minute steep, tea steep. So just rest your hand on the hot pan because why the hell not? 3rd-degree burns, 1st degree, 2nd degree are great for you. Perfect for the skin. I mean, it's actually not hot enough for so I'm going to take this and I'm going to mash it in here. I like to leave this out, but not to where it hangs onto the heating element, because you know what happens with that, right? It causes a fire. I hope you understand that this will burn into a fire. If you don't, then don't make beer or cook or be in your kitchen. Okay, so you flatten this out a little bit so it's fully submerged in the water. Like so. I don't think I need to show you guys how to submerge or make things under water. If you're making beer, you probably have some kind of sciencey or curiosity for intelligence. And I don't know who you are. Maybe you could just be watching for fun to see how it happens. Either way, if you don't know certain things, don't cook. Okay, so this is now going onto, oops, 7 for the warming zone. Once this gets up to, what I do is I have the main burner on my stove cook until it gets up to temperature, because it gets up to temperature really quick. Then I move over to my warming zone, which at a moderate setting will allow my temperature to remain in the 150, 160 degree, which is a fantastic concept for the stove. If you don't have a warming zone on your stove, which probably 90% of stoves don't, I bought this specifically for the warming element because I like to make beer. I bought, the old stove broke, it died, it had like this long crack across the top of it. I was not that smart when it comes to coming in with groceries and just slamming them on the counter and stuff, you know, it's like they're heavy, and well, we don't do that anymore, so. Okay, this has reached 140-ish degrees. The warming zone is probably heated up enough to test, or actually to get off the dirt. A little bit of dust from when I did the, when I put the malts on there. Brewing beer will make a mess, regardless of how careful you are. It's just dusty and there's all kinds of stuff. And you want to just kind of keep a clean environment. You need to get a little bit of OCD in you, just because clean environment is a healthy environment, and when you're making beer, bacterial contamination is an extremely bad thing. It can make all kinds of bad things happen. I had a beer that I made once. It was a nice Belgian treacle. It did get bacterial because I left it in the secondary for too long, having a busy schedule, and it had this white film, almost like pouring paint on top of the beer, and it just kind of filmed up, and I was like, oh crap, my beer is ruined. But I didn't want to ruin it. I didn't want to throw it away. So I looked up. The white bacteria that is all white is normally healthy. Or, okay, not healthy, but it's okay, it's safe, it's not poisonous. So I scraped that all off, I drained out the beer, I put it into a secondary, or another carboy that I had available. I then put about a cup of sugar in there to kickstart the yeast again. I had a spare yeast, it was actually a champagne yeast or something. Threw that in there to kind of kill off whatever bacteria was left. Ended up being one of the best beers that I had made because of an accident. You don't want that though. You want to make sure that you don't ruin your beer by neglect. But I did. I had too much air on the top of the carboy, not enough beer to fill up the air. It was there for 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. The film started happening. I didn't even see it because I was in the corner of the house. You got to check on your beer once in a while. You can't neglect your beer, or else it will make bad things happen. Bacteria is wonderful ninja skills on sneaking up and making good things bad. You don't want that to happen. So this is at 160 degrees, or actually a little higher than that. So I was a little preemptuous on that. So we're going to take a short intermission. Welcome back. Now that the work is now done, I turn off the stove. Like so. Bring it over here to the strainer into my 24-quart thing. Canner. Take out my thermostat. Yeah, it's 150 degrees, but it's fine. Now I carefully pull the wort out. Let it drain just a little bit because I want to keep all the way up in. Take that and I just hop it up there on the boom. Perfect. Put that strain through, flatten this out a little bit. So it's a little hot, so be careful. Thermometer is now done. I just like to flatten this out a little bit. Now this is an optional thing. I don't know if it really matters. I like to do it. So I can salvage every last little bit of flavor and sugar and everything that's coming with this beer, right? nice boiled up port. You just kind of pour it over. There we go. And pour it over the malt. Give it nice. Now, you can hand it off to your wife or make it yourself. Probably chances of survival are probably better if you make it yourself. Under water. I think we have one more. Actually, so you want it to be about 2 gallons ish. You're going to let this drip. It's still very hot. Okay. I'm using all the water, so it doesn't matter how big the drainage hole is. And you just kind of pop that up. And get it nice. It's boiling a lot of being made. So a lot of water is kind of good for you on this stage of the game. Actually, these kind of water bottles, you can just kind of break this one out. Yeah. Being stubborn today. You're like me, you're impatient, right? I just want to get this done. Got a gym workout. This is 2.5 gallons of water being dumped on this 24 quart. There we go. Finally, it's now done. Put the recycling bin. Well, once this drains through, right? The other ingredients, we was talking about chocolate. This is unsweetened cocoa. You don't really need sugared cocoa because, well, plenty of sugar already from the malts and everything. So, the best bet is to not have any added sugars unless you want to raise the alcohol content of your beer. In doing so, you will also raise the drunken factor of all your friends who will have 1 or 2 beers and pass out on the kitchen floor or couch or wherever you are. Sometimes you don't want that. You want them to go home after the drink. So I just like to squeeze all this out. It's still hot, so be careful. Even when I dump 2.5 gallons of water on it, there are still hot spots. And my hands are clean, of course. Also, this will be boiled for over 1.5 hours. Boiled, boiling temperature. So there's a really high chance that any bacteria on my hands is going to be extinct. This is the fun part. It's kind of like squeezing. Okay. Yeah, this is just the fun part. Yes, I'm going to feed that to the chickens later. Fertilize my garden with it. Clean hands are always good hands. Back in frame, thank you. I'm going to take the 1 pound of sugar, dump that in. Don't really need to stir it at the moment. That will be added later. BMD usually comes in vacuum sealed bags. Good to tap it down a little bit. As soon as you break the vacuum, it starts going down a little bit better. So you want to cut this off, just like so. Pour the whole 5 pounds. Well, this is the 6 pound bag, same thing. I pour it all in the water. And over the course of the boil, this will also settle in. I have a big metal fork and spoon that I use to stir this stuff. Back at the moment, I'm just going to use a wooden spoon just to kind of sink that in. Just a little bit of... Now it's going to come out all clumpy and stuff, because it is really just kind of like a powdery. It's almost like, it almost feels like it turns into plastic right now, right? So as it boils over the next hour and a half or so, it'll basically break down and turn into malt, or basically wort. Next stage, this is the 5 pound bag, so this is a total of 11 pounds of DME added. Shake the bag again, get all the stuff to the bottom. Got that. And try not to inhale the powdered vapor. It's not bad for you, but clog up your lungs still. Any powder. Oops, covered. Okay. That being said, we just pound this down. Okay. This goes in with the primary, this goes in the primary. These guys go in the oil. Okay, so now we're going to the, we're going to boil. This is outside actually, so come along. Ooh, this is heavy. So here we are again. Nice weather outside. Today we are making our beer and we're still boiling. So this is the boiling phase. It's going to be about an hour and a half of fun watching basically paint dry. I got DME all over me. I got to wash my hands later. The next part of the phase will be the fun part. This over here is my primary. This is my primary fermenter bucket right now. It's just soaking in a sterilization agent, the Star sand in the back. 24 gallons of water. I kind of overfilled it because I didn't realize what was going on. Oops. Oh, there goes my spoon. I still got my metal one, which is actually important. So this is basically it. Just rinse off. actually important. This is what I actually needed for cooking. Grilling part. I'll find a spot to put that upside down where it won't be sterile. Where it won't go in the kitchen. Come back this way. We got some hornets out here, but basically, this is going to be quite a while of the process, right? This is not going to, you're not going to see the whole 190 minutes of, or 160 or 90, basically an hour and a half of boiling. 120 minutes really, 2 hours or something, I don't know, 90 minutes really. I want to make sure DME starts evolving and dissolving in the liquid. See how I still have some chunks up? We don't want that in the final product. Over the next hour and a half, it'll definitely dissolve. Now, while this is boiling, let's go play video games. More hops. Ow. Hot. Every 10 minutes, more hops. Well, now we get into something real. Now we're adding the World Flock tablet. Actual hops. No more tablets like I have been for the last like 90 minutes. This is almost done. So take the lid, throw the tablet, throw the hops in, walk away and watch the movies. Bye. Alright, this one is absolutely exciting. But it's the last of them. I've been doing this for like an hour and a half or more. I don't even know anymore. In and out, putting in hops. Whatever, they're fun. This is awesome. The last of the hop bag, and then the next 5 minutes, we take it off the boil, and we're done. So, yeah, it's a little hot still. It's almost like a witch's brew, but awesomer, because it makes beer. Have a good one. And now for this section of the board is now boiled, all the hops are in. It's now time to cool it off. First we go into the freezer. Grab out a big ice bucket, because we're going to need all the ice. Throw it. It's also a great way to get rid of all the old ice in the freezer. Okay, make sure to lower the bar. Proper hand wear is important. It is going to be hot. And it's very heavy. Put it in with cold water, let it cool off for the next couple hours, and we're almost done with this process at least. Welcome back. This is the last part of the actual brewing process. The fun part is now that the wort is cooled off enough, we can finally put it into the fermenter. This is a 24-gallon fermenter. The reason it is 24 gallons to make 5 gallons of beer is because this is going to ferment like crazy. It will probably explode up to like a 12 or gallon mark or further up. That's just all the head, carbonation, the bubbling, the fermented, the ferocious, hungry, feasting yeast, all kinds of good stuff. So we're going to take off the cover. You can see the boiling process layered. This is all basically all the hops and all the stuff. Boiling process gets it all on the bottom. It's quite a messy process, really. Take this. It's heavy as all hell. This is like a workout, right? So we take this and we dump it into the bucket. There goes one yeast. And there goes the second of the hops. What we have there is all the stuff left over from boil. It looks kind of gross, but whatever. This is all exciting to me. Alright, now we have to make this 5 gallons. I got my 2.5 gallon bucket of water. And we just dump this stuff out like so. The advantage of a kitchen scissors is they come in half. What I like to do for this, pull off the top. It's not needed. I'm going to use all the water anyways. Now granted, this is actually a little more than 5 gallons right now. It's actually diluted up to about 6 gallons of beer. That will give me a little bit of room for fermentation. Oops. I can't even pass an aptitude test. I'm putting the scissors back together. There we go. Alright. Empty. And now I have this up to about 6 gallons of water. Yeah, it's a little below my 6 gallon mark, that's fine. This is the gluten enzyme. Basically, I put the gluten enzyme into the fermentation bucket. And my liquid yeast. Now the liquid yeast, probably should have saved a little bit of water. This has been at room temperature for a little bit, so it's kind of, it's hungry. It's really hungry. Zombie hungry. There we go. The liquid yeast is now in there. This is English ale yeast, but it's okay for an IPA. And the English ale and IPA are very similar. Now, this is an optional thing. You don't really have to stir it up, but I like to just kind of get in there and stir it a little bit. Plus, I want to pull out. Oops. There, where'd it go? Damn it. It's like fishing. I want to pull out my hops. I got 2 for 1 today. This is good. I'm getting better at this. The hop fishing. So this is the first. These are the 2 hops. These are just the flavoring and aroma hops. Nothing super impressive about these. But we do a little squeeze. Well, I had washed my hands. Don't worry. Being a brewer, sterilization is the most important thing. Getting rid of any foreign bacteria. All right, now we've got yeast. We've got the hops. We got a lot of dirty dishes. Don't worry about those. I got a dishwasher for that, which is running at the moment. And I throw this away. Now, the other thing about the primary fermenter is, as you see, there's no hole, no blow-off valve. Or no, whatever it's called. It doesn't matter for the ferment. No pressure lock, water lock. Basically, it just locks on here. This side closes, any extra pressure lifts up and pushes it up. Pushes the lid up, lets the gases out, If it does boil up, it'll hopefully not overflow all over my floor again like it does every other time when I make the imperial stouts. So this concludes the primary fermentation portion. We will check in the next couple days to watch the fermenting process, and we will come in back when we do secondary transfer. Anyways, have a good night. Good evening, and welcome to the second part of Kyle's beer. So we're at the end of the primary fermentation period where it was vigorously brewing. As you can see, the beer's level is here at the a little under the 6 gallon mark, and it fermented pretty damn high up, which would have quite honestly overflowed my 8 gallon standard fermenters. Here's an 8 gallon fermenter just to show you. Of course, the base is more narrow, so it would fill up to the 8 gallons here, and the fermentation fizz would just run like a volcano. We don't like that. First part of primary is taking off the lid, of course. Taking a wine thief, everything has been sterilized. As sexy as it is me washing dishes, I didn't feel like you guys wanted to spend 10 minutes watching me wash dishes. So everything's sterilized, and it smells pretty damn good. So what we do first, we take the wine thief, my hands are also sterilized and clean, and we dip the thief in to the beer bucket, and we grab a sample of the beer, like so, okay? So it actually has a nice clear look. It's a little cloudy, of course, because it's still in primary fermentation. That'll settle out in the secondary fermentation once we get to remove it from the tank. It has a darker, if you notice, it has a much darker texture than a normal IPA. You're expecting more of like a yellowish beer, almost Corona style look. The reason why it has this darker look is because it has coffee in it. And coffee in an IPA, I guess, is delicious. I haven't ever tasted one. This is actually my first coffee IPA. It smells freaking awesome. It's pretty much done. The hops, the 4 billion hops that I had to add in over the course of the last video that you saw, well, you're part of the same edit basically, had added really exorbitantly to the hoppiness. They're a little overpowering at this time. I think I'm actually going to skip the dry hopping portion. There's a whole bag of hops here, but they're pretty overpowering as it is, and it's hiding the coffee and flavor. So I'm going to take this one more week of basically settling. This beer is ready to bottle. I'm excited. I don't know about you. So, bottling the beer for the home brewer, $10 or so, siphon. Still dripping water because I sterilized and washed it. So, sterilization is probably the most important thing for any beer that you're going to ever make. Wine, beer, moonshine, doesn't matter. Sterilization is key. Drop this in, so it's just a long hose essentially. You want to put the hose in first. I've made mistakes where I didn't make sure the hose is in, and I had beer all over my floor. Don't like that. Bad idea. So we sit here. And a few pumps, and gravity now does its job. Okay, so I like my own product, and I just had a whole bottle of my own wine. So I'm a little off key, but that's okay, because I'm making an awesome beer right now. Now the whole thing is, I'm even that little plastic thing on the siphon gives it about 1 inch or so above the sediment, so it can kind of rest in the sediment. I like to hold it a little higher. This helps prevent some sediment from being sucked in or like up and in to the siphon. So also, if you put it right in the center, sometimes in the center, especially in some carboys, it lifts, it's raised, so you can center right in there and all the sediment is on the bottom. Siphoning is used in lieu of filtering. Filtering can add contaminants. Filtering is okay, but it takes out flavor and contaminant. What happens is when you siphon it, some sediment comes in, it settles at the bottom, you siphon it out again, and let that settle, and then siphon it again. Right now I'm doing like a 3-stage siphon. I'm going to siphon from the primary to the secondary, and from the secondary to basically the bottling barrel. And when I put it in the bottling barrel, it's done. It's being bottled. That's the next step in the video. So I'm not going to bore you with all this. I'll probably end up cutting right around here. I'm going to do like, hey gang, I'm back. Siphoning is all done. Didn't want to bore you with all that. Whew, this is heavy. Alright, so this is a 5-gallon carboy. Don't know if you can see it. So what we do is put an airlock on it. It's filled with water, and basically any carbon dioxide comes up, pushes itself out. No contaminants can go into or at least there can go into the beer. So put the lock on there, lift up. This is one hell of an IPA. 8.8% alcohol, almost filled to the top of a 5-gallon carboy. This is about 48 or so bottles of beer. This is going to be one hell of a beer. So now, next week, we host next to my mulberry wine. It's right here. Here we go. We also have Super Chill Kitty as a guest star. Hey, say hi, Super Chill Kitty. Alright, Super Chill Kitty really wants to just play with you. So, come on. Go get it. Bye, Super Chill Kitty. Super Chill Kitty. The fun part. Whew, this is heavy. This is all the sediment was at the bottom of the beer. Oh yeah, look at that sludge. Woo! It's pretty nasty shit. That is going down the drain. And that is primary fermentation of Kyle's IPA. I'm gonna end with that. Nice. Last, or almost last episode of beer. Beer again. So, anyways, we're ready to bottle the beer up. We got all the equipment sterilized and sanitized because I make you watch that process. This is the siphon, this is the beer. Nothing too fancy, the bottling bucket. We'll pour beer in bucket, siphon, and then you get a bottle of beer, and you cap the beer, and you gotta, and you do that over and over again until you're out of beer. The other thing we do, we'll explain in the future, some extra clear water, and a cup of sugar. The sugar is priming the yeast again to reheat, turns into carbonation in your bottled beer because there's nowhere the pressure to escape, so it just dissolves into the beer. Pop the cap, boom, all the carbonation comes out, and you have a hit. So let's get this started. Bucket's clean. Everything's been sterilized ahead of time because it's pretty pretty much late in the day. I've been power washing the house all day, changing electrical outlets, you know, the stuff you don't hear about. Anyways, we're now getting this going. So in the next couple minutes, I will show the rest of the process, which will be bottling beer, finishing it off. Make sure you label the box of where you put out beer is going to be. That way, you know when you bottled it, what kind of beer it is. Put it away for a week or a month or so. Because when you prime your beer after bottling, you need at least 5 to 10 days for the carbonation to kick in again. That's just part of the deal. Anyways, see you in a couple minutes. Welcome back. We're at the end of our journey of making beer. It's been a long 2 weeks, an exciting 2 weeks because this is starting to taste really good. I have a little sample of it here. It's a little cloudy just because I just siphoned it out. I got a little bit of sediment, a little more sediment in this than I expected. I'm going to let it settle down a little bit. But other than that, it's a really nice color for an IPA. It's got a lot of coffee in it, which gives it the darker color, not the golden color that you expect. But it's still drinkable. As you see here, it's actually really good. The sediment is not going to hurt you with discoloration. It's actually just a lot of the ingredients and everything. You see, I'm drinking my own product. It's damn good. So, and bitterness and hoppiness is just right. It's going to age really well in a bottle. It's going to be great in another week or two. It's been fermenting out of the secondary for a couple weeks. Oh, this is my helper. Say hi. Hi. Alright, so what we're going to do first, cat. We're going to add the sugar. I'll do this in a couple seconds, but we're going to add a cup of sugar to this. I had to do that over at the sink because I just made one hell of a mess. Ants are going to love it. Alright, for 32 ounces of water. Dissolves the sugar really well. Shake it. Sing a song. I don't know any songs right now. Shake, 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 Sonoda, shake your body good. Shake, 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 Sonoda, shake your body. Good. Alright. Sugar water, or sophisticated people like to call it priming agent. Whatever. Pour it in. All the sugar is nicely dissolved. Perfect. Now, generally I use Demerara sugar. I am conspicuously out of Demerara sugar, so I'm just using irregular cane sugar. I will not ever use cornstarch. Corn sugar, because it's evil. So now that we get that out of the way, we're going to bottle the beer. What you do is you grab the bottle, this, let it in at a nice little angle, just enough, but you need a little bit of light. So bingo. Let there be light. Put the backlighting. So let it go. Let it go. Whoa, going too fast. There's still a lot of carbonation in this beer because okay, I did that a little too quickly. There's still carbonation from the fermenting, which is really good because it'll help it prime faster. But the secret now is just to do this slower, as if you're pouring a real beer to drink. Now, you just want to kind of wriggle. You can see it, but fill to there. Going back to this bottle. This is the boring part. You just pull up segments beyond your wildest imaginations. Okay. There you go. Always stir the beer with a plastic spoon. Metal spoons are scratched in the interior of your bucket where bacteria can get into and ruin your beer. Basically a bottle about 4, circle, oops, bottle 4, stir, bottle 4, stir, bottle 4. I'm going to stir it a little too much, let that one chill out. Of course, most home brewers don't like the bottle of brewers, they like to put in growlers. Growlers are okay. I brew beers that require a little more aging. The problem with growler is their duration is only maybe a month or 2 before they start losing their carbonation. I like to keep my beers for 6 months or more. So. These are other bottle style. They're nice. They have a nice little cap. You just kind of, oops, there we go. Just kind of boom, and you got your clear bottle. It's great, but same principle as a growler. Only keeps the beer for maybe a month or 2 before the carbonation's gone and the beer is done. I don't drink enough beer to justify using those. I have to bottle my beers. So you just go like this. Just a little low. It's okay. My beer is a little extra carbonated, so they need a little extra headroom. So most people will fill the bottle up to halfway from there. More. Halfway to that. So we take our bottles over to our processing section. And we take a cap, put it on, take our capper device, boom, a little bit of pressure, boom, you got a nice bottle of beer. And robots can do this a lot faster. But I like the exercise. And there you have it. We're going to close for now because you ain't going to want to watch all that. It's boring. But we'll reconvene at the end, show you the end results. Have a good night. Signing off. Hi again. We are now done. That's all the equipment that went into making this beer. The bottler. Here's the bottled beer, the final product. Nicely bottled. That's my mulberry wine. That's more of the beer and the final box over here.
There's, 4 empty ones, but anyways, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful